What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
It is Saturday night, and it's been a little while since we've been hanging out with you
I
all.
know. We've been busy. Do I need to move over some?
Yeah, you can move over some. It's been a few Saturday nights since we have been here, and so we're glad to be back.
Yes.
Listen, if you're watching this or watching it now live, or you're watching the replay, hit the share button. We want to get this in front of as many people as possible, and you can help us do that by sharing it. So please do that. Please share it, and come on in. Let us know you're here. If you're watching the replay, let us know you're watching the replay. For those of you who may not know what you stumbled upon, this is Have a Conversation After Dark with Oliver and Denise Marcel, authors, speakers, and coaches in the relationship building space. And we are passionate about seeing relationships thrive.
Indeed.
And this particular show is just talking about all things relationships, but the goal is to get you talking. Right? The goal is to get you talking. So there is another show that we have that we just started back this week called Inside the Relationship. And Inside the Relationship is also a relationship show where you get some tidbits, some advice, some tips, some tools, that kind of thing. This show tonight, though, is about you having conversation, because we say this at the beginning and the end of every one of these. Conversation is a catalyst for growth. It is a catalyst for learning. It is a catalyst for bonding. So you should be having conversations. And so tonight, if you saw the title, the title is I Need a Break. And where that comes from is a story that I was reading and also just some articles that I've been reading about separation.
Okay.
And separation. Hold on for a second.
Hmm?
Let me just make sure. Can you hear yourself?
Not a whole lot.
Let me just make sure the audio is good.
I can hear myself, but not a whole lot.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's
I'm gonna
turn.
see if Steph can hear us.
How about now? Say something now.
Yes, that's a little
Okay,
better.
so I just turned this up in the headphones, but I think the sound should be good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're talking about needing a break, and it comes from a story that I was reading about a couple who decided. The title of the article is "How a 6-Month Separation Saved Our Marriage." So, in this particular story, the the couple, and I'm not going to give the whole story, but the short version of the story is the couple decides that they are going to separate.
Okay.
They're not going to get divorced. They're going to separate and see what happens. Essentially, that's the short version of the story. So
Yeah.
I won't go into it. Some other parts of the story may come out just as we talk about it. But the question that I have for you, and the question that I have for anybody else that comes on, is:
Fix my mic right. Sorry.
You good?
Just trying to fix my mic right.
Question I have for you, the question I have for everybody else that comes on is this: what do you think about, let's say you are having issues in your relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and it is suggested that, hey, you know what? Why don't you guys separate? Almost like go to your separate corners, whatever separation looks like. In this particular case, she got her own place, and her husband travels during the week, so that they didn't have to displace the kids. Since her husband travels during the week,
Mm-hmm.
she stayed at their home, original home, during the
While
week
when he's gone.
when he was gone. When he returned, she would go to her place. So essentially, she was in their home during the week and at her place during the weekends. And they did this for 6 months. Um,
So
would you be open to, if we were having issues, would you be open to separating as an attempt? Or maybe I should say this: how do you feel about separating as an attempt to save our marriage?
I don't see how that helps.
Okay.
How
Why?
does that save your marriage if we're not there together working on it? I don't understand that.
We got to be together in order to work on it.
I think that would help
You mean together
physically,
proximity wise?
proximity. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because I just feel like you can work things out, talk things over better than on the phone. What are you going to do? FaceTime each other to work it out? I don't understand how separating makes things better.
Mhm.
I don't understand it. Maybe if there was more context on what separation does,
Mhm.
then I might understand it. But if we're not getting along,
Mhm.
I don't see how, okay, we're not getting along. Let me just leave. How does that solve anything?
So,
I don't understand.
so here's what's interesting. Even though that is something that takes place,
Mm-hmm.
I also read a statistic that says, well, let me answer your first question.
Mm-hmm.
Separation can help strengthen a marriage if done for the right reasons and with clear agreements. That's what this says.
That's what
Okay.
the article says.
Well, that's a different article I'm reading now,
Oh,
right? If elements of a successful separation uh, enhance a relationship, basically, is what this is saying.
I still don't see how. I guess I would need to know how.
But here's what's interesting, though, right? Even though there are people who are proponents for that, right? People that a temporary separation can potentially make your relationships stronger. There's an article in Psychology Today about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what's interesting though. Even though there are people who are proponents for separating in an attempt to fix your marriage,
Mm-hmm.
there's a statistic that says about 13% of couples who separate, only around 13% of couples who separate actually reconcile and get back together,
Yeah.
which means it must not work.
I don't see how. I just really don't see how.
So if 87% of couples who separate end up getting a divorce, then the chances are of you separating as in an attempt to save your marriage is slim.
I want to know what you do while you're separated as opposed to what you do while you stay in the same in the same proximity to work on your marriage, to try to save your marriage. What do you do? What are the differences in what you do?
Maybe you do the same things. Maybe you go to therapy or coaching. Maybe you spend more time in prayer and fasting. I don't know. But
Yeah. I, I don't see how that wouldn't work if you were together still.
here's the thing though, just for the sake of argument. Like this said, if done for the right reasons and with clear agreements, it
Mm-hmm.
could work. If you're like, hey, listen, this is not going right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fall back and we need to separate for 6 months. And in that 6 months, here's what needs to take place. Here are the 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 things that need to take place. Nope, you're still not feeling it.
No.
Okay.
I just don't. Maybe I need to talk to somebody who's done it. That would be good.
Well, we have to talk amongst ourselves because there's not enough people on right now for them to give us feedback. But
No, I'm talking about a couple that's done it.
Oh, you want to talk to a couple who has done it?
Yeah, because I just don't get it.
So here's the thing.
Maybe there's something that I'm not thinking of.
Okay.
That someone who's done it can tell me. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And
Because
I agree with that. And we know couples who have separated, but the separation was not in an attempt to save the marriage.
Right.
The separation was because they felt like the marriage is probably about to end.
I don't understand separations, period, honestly.
Why not?
Because if you, like you said, we know people who have separated and they know the marriage is not going to work out and they end up divorcing. If you know where you're headed anyway, what's the point in the separation? Period.
I can see that argument. So you're saying if it's going to end, just end it.
If that's what you're planning on doing,
don't slide into it.
Yeah.
Don't slide into the end.
If that's what your plan is.
But what if you don't know what your plan is? But you know that right now, we just can't occupy the same space. I don't know what's going to happen 2 days, 2 months, a year down the road. But right now, we can't occupy the same space.
I mean, sometimes I feel like that with you, but it's not because of it's not because I want to be separated from you. That's not, sometimes we get irritated with each other.
Yeah.
But I don't think the remedy for that is let's separate. That's human. That's life. People get frustrated with each other.
Okay.
That shouldn't mean to me we gonna separate because I can't be around you right now. Go to the basement then. But why separate?
So separate.
Work it out.
Separate in place.
But see, separation though, when I say go to the basement, I'm just saying, go cool off for a couple hours or whatever. That's normal. Or I'm gonna go shopping. I'm gonna go to the mall. I'm gonna do whatever because I just need my time alone. But separation. To see if things will get better, or separation because I know in the long run we're going to divorce anyway, is pointless and a waste of time to me.
Okay.
Do what you got to do. What you feel you got to do.
Good evening, good sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. Do what you got to do.
All right. I mean, here's it. It obviously doesn't work that well. If we're going by the statistics, because about 87% of people who separate get a divorce. So if separation if you're using separation as a method to potentially save your marriage, the odds are against you according to the statistics. However, there are obviously, based on what I have been reading,
Mm-hmm.
a good amount of people who are willing to try it anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
What's happening, family?
What's
What's going on?
up?
What's going on?
That's my
Thank you for
girl.
being here.
Good evening.
For those of you who just joined or who are kind of jumping in and out, what we're having a discussion about is something that I've been reading about couples who are using separation in an attempt to save their marriage. So there's a couple that I was reading about that they decided they're going to what the name of the top title of the article is how a 6-month separation saved our marriage. Right. There's an article in Psychology Today that talks about temporary separation. There are individuals who use temporary separation as a means to work through issues in their marriage and potentially save their marriage. Now, the other side of that coin is there's also a statistic that says about 87% of people who separate don't ever get back together.
I would love to hear Mia's take on this.
Okay.
I mean, she's a therapist. She might know couples who have done it. But my take on it is, what is the point? What is the point of the separation? And maybe there's something, like I said, that I haven't thought of, but I just think it's pointless. Either you've decided that you're going to divorce, go ahead and divorce. Or you decided that you're going to do the hard work and work it out.
And you
Why
have
this?
to stay together to do the hard work. We can't be like, hey, listen, let's create some space so that you can concentrate and I can concentrate. So you can work on some things, I can work on some things without the distractions, the uh, without the potential for conflict, without the drama, without all that. Let's just go to our separate
Conflict
corners.
happens, though.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. That's all I'm saying.
That doesn't make sense.
Armina, if you are here, we'd love to hear your 2 cents about temporary separation and if there is some merit to that. Better yet, if you awake and camera ready, I'll send you a link and you can get on and talk about it. She said, right, what is the end goal and what is the work being done while separated?
What
Does
does separation mean and look like?
Okay. And so now if we were to answer those questions, which we can't, but is there an answer that would make you be like, okay, I'm cool with that? Like if because this says separation can help strengthen a marriage if done for the right reasons and with clear agreements. So if I was able to tell you what work is being done, and if I was able to tell you what separation means and looks like, is there something that I could say that would convince you that this is a good idea?
She said she can't jump on. She's in the car headed home.
Got you. No worries.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's pointless.
And here's the thing. So let me just say this. I'm playing devil's advocate in this. However, I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is that it don't make sense to me.
Doesn't to me either.
That's just me personally. Number one. Number two, statistically, the odds are against you. So if you taking it, that's a huge gamble for you to be like, hey, we're going to separate in order to fix our relationship. That's a huge gamble.
Right.
Because I'd feel a little bit better if the stats were like, hey, 65% of marriages who separate end up getting back together. I would feel better if it was 50%. But it's only about 13% of marriages who separate get back together. So if this is your tactic, you gambling. That's a heavy gamble, in my opinion. I'm assuming she said I would love to know
I would,
What
if
the
I
pre-work
know.
prior to the decision to separate. Yeah, and I
Oh, I would love to know what the
what's the
pre-work
pre-work?
prior to the decision to separate, maybe.
Yeah. And so if we're going by this story, which is not a great example, let me just be clear about that. The story with this particular couple who separated for 6 months, they did not do it right.
Mm.
So it is a miracle that they're still together, because everything that was not supposed to be happening during the separation was happening, right? So
Mm.
the wife was seeing other people, she was exploring. It was a whole bunch of stuff. She called it
That's,
a,
yeah.
a, a, mar- a marital sabbatical. So they didn't do it right. However, that being said, I I could be convinced.
Mm-hmm.
I could be convinced that if you really had a game plan,
Mm-hmm.
I mean a real game plan, not like, oh, I'm just tired of this woman and I'm leaving and we'll see what happens. No, if you had a real game plan, you could probably convince me.
Okay, then I guess I need to see the real game plan. Because when I think separation, I think of what you just said.
Mhm.
I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of this. I got to get away. That's to me, and no knock on anyone who's done it, but to me, that is, you're not try you don't want to try,
Mhm.
you
Okay.
know. I need to hear like viewpoints.
So, what about people who, and we know people like this, we know people who have separated and are back together.
Are not back together?
They are back together. We know people who have separated and are back together, but I don't believe that separation was in an attempt to fix their marriage. I think that separation was out of frustration.
Mm,
And it just so happened that during that separation, some realizations were made.
okay.
I know. Evangelist Davis said, working on the marriage, a separation can be beneficial if both partners have similar goals during the separation. They may work on repairing ruptures or amicably proceeding with divorce. Okay. So it could work, is what
Mhm.
Evangelist Javid is saying, if they have similar goals during the separation. And listen, I'm a I don't believe, me personally, Oliver Marcel, I don't believe that that separation should be used in an attempt to save your marriage.
I
So let
don't
me put that
either.
out there first.
Hmm.
Now, the other side of that is you could convince me. Now, you never convince me to try it, but you could come to me and be like, "Hey, bro, listen, me and so we about to separate. And while we separate, we're both going to be in intense counseling for the next 3 months, uh, at 3 sessions a week, and we're both going to be right. I'm just making up stuff now. We're both going to be journaling during that period of time. We'll be exchanging the journals on a prearranged date where we will sit down with a mediator and talk through this, that, and the third. And I'm going to be getting coaching for this, and we're going to be doing, like, you put that in front of me, and then you have a time frame at the end of the 3 months, we're going to reevaluate and work on a reconciliation and reentry process and blah, blah, blah. And you map it all out. I might be like, may the Lord be with you. I can see that.
Okay.
I ain't doing it.
I'm not doing it
Let's
either.
listen. Can we be clear about something?
I'm not going nowhere. So what you
We,
gonna do?
you there is no, and I'm not saying this in a possessive kind of way. There is nothing that causes us to separate, or there will be nothing that causes us to separate.
I mean, I agree. Where you go, I go. Your people won't be my people. How about that?
All right. Well, we had Mia, we had Evangelist Javin in the comments. We're not gonna be on here that long, folks. To be honest, I'm a little tired, if I'm
I'm
being
tired
honest.
too.
Long day today. Very good day today.
Great day today.
Very good day today. Today, so those of you who know us, you know that we're the marriage ministry leaders at Miracle City. And normally marriage ministry happens on the second Saturday. Today, we did it today on the third Saturday, and we're finishing up the vows. And we are finished now. It was the
Finishing
last
up talking about the
talking about the
vows
vows.
line by
Right.
line.
Talking about the vows line by line. Yes. And today was the last line till death do us part. And it started out with a very interesting and engaging conversation around, and the reason why I'm saying all this is because I'm going to ask you a question. A very engaging conversation around um, some stuff from the book. One of the
Disney's
members talked
Hermes,
about.
right?
No, it was
No,
for men only
for
and
men
for
only
women
and
only.
for women
Right?
only. Yes.
Talking about affirmation. The question I want to ask you, and we're kind of switching gears here. If you have something to say about separation, let us know how you feel about separation. Would you be willing, if you were having issues, do you think separation would be a good tactic to fix your relationship? Let us know what you think about that. If you're watching now or watching the replay, let us know what you think in the comments. Um, if you're in a situation where you are trying to get your mate to do something a certain way, to I hate to say it this way, but to think a certain way, to adopt a certain philosophy, to treat you a certain way, whatever it is that you may be
Trying to get them to do.
wanting from them, how long is too long to wait?
So if I'm trying to get you to think or do something a certain way,
Yeah, let me give you a real world example.
yeah.
That way we can talk about something
Okay.
concrete. So let's say, for example, and I'm gonna pick something silly and frivolous. Let's say, for example, I never put down the toilet seat.
Mm-hmm.
And you are frustrated. You have talked to me about it. You have tried different tactics. You have whatever. We've gone through the whole gamut of all of this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still failing to remember to do that.
Yeah.
How long should you have to put up with that?
I mean, I don't think that there's a time limit on it.
Okay.
My reaction might change.
Mhm.
Initially, I might, say, babe, you keep forgetting to put the toilet seat down. Can you remember? And if I have to keep saying it, then I might get frustrated.
Mhm.
But then I'm just going to just not say anything else about it and just deal with it even in my frustration. Because to me, that's not something that what I'm gonna do. We're gonna separate over a toilet seat
We might.
or divorce over a toilet seat. I'm
Hey,
not doing that.
people.
So it's just one of those things I think that I just have to keep reminding you of every now and then, maybe not as much as I did in the beginning. Or, it's just those are the types of things where I think for me, I have to pick my battles. I know I'm not perfect, and there's probably some things that you would rather I do or not do as well. So I don't think for me that there's a time limit on like, this is it. I'm not going to ask him anymore. I'm out.
So are you going to live with that for the rest of your life? Potentially, because I'm sure people come around and maybe they don't. But
I think, see, I can't think of, I can't imagine it being for the rest of our lives, because I think that eventually you would come around, or you have come around with a lot of things.
Mhm.
And so I think with time, over the years, with time for the both of us comes wisdom. And also with time comes, I want to make sure I'm being my best person for my spouse. And so, we think about those types of things as time goes on. You think about we're more considerate as time goes by, I think.
Okay.
And so I just feel like it wouldn't be an issue. Sorry, I was reading that comment.
Okay. What's good, Kels? Thank you for being here, man. Shout out to Kellen in the comments. He said this
Kellen.
this episode sounds spot
On
on
for
for
me
me right
right now.
now. Gonna
Gonna
have
have
to
to go
go back
back
and
and
listen.
listen for sure.
Yeah, definitely go
Oh,
back
well,
and
we've
listen.
been talking about a few
So we
things.
talked about a couple of things. We talked about separation. It started out with the question around separation. Um, there's a school of thought that says that separation can actually be beneficial for your marriage. There's a school of thought that says that. And so, would you be willing to separate if you're having issues? Is that something you would try? Now, before you answer that question, the flip side is that the odds are way not in your favor,
Mm,
because about 87% of couples who separate um, do not get back together.
right.
So that's the interesting one. And then coming into this topic around how long do you wait for something? Now, here's what's interesting. And this is what I said, because those of you who know me know I'm going to give you stuff for shock value, but it's often very true. And what I said was, when you get married to someone, you actually sign up
Yep.
for the potential that they don't grow in some areas.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, yes, we should be growing, we should be evolving, we should be maturing as a couple and individually. But there may be like like she may never in the entire time that you're married put the toilet paper roll on so that it comes down the front and not down the back. She may never do that. Are you okay with that? Or how long are you willing to wait for that change? Even though you said, babe, listen, I really appreciate if you would do it the other way, babe. I really would appreciate if you do it other way. Hey, babe, you know what? How long?
Do you know, I think what happens is in relationships is we learn how to speak to each other
Mhm.
in a way that makes the other person want to do whatever it is you're trying to get them to do.
Mm.
Someone um in the meeting today said something to that effect, and I can't remember exactly what she said about the crumbs on the counter.
Mhm.
And if I keep coming to you and I'm saying, babe, you just keep forgetting to put the toilet seat down, you are frustrating me,
Mhm.
as opposed to, man, I love it when you clean the bathroom. Everything is so nice and clean. I'm comfortable when I go in there. When I go in there in the middle of the night and it's dark, I don't have to worry, about falling into the toilet
Mhm.
because the seat is already down. It's just all in how you say it.
So you got to be strategic. So
Yeah,
you're
I guess.
strategically telling him, jerk, you you keep doing this, but you didn't say it that way. You said it nicely. I appreciate when you do X, Y, Z.
Well,
And I
jerk is
appreciate
a little harsh.
that you don't allow me to fall in the toilet, knowing full well that the toilet seat is up.
Yeah, it's just all in how you say it.
Okay. Evangelist said
Temporary
temporary separation
separation
among
among
married
married
couples
couples
is
is
an
an
informal
informal
agreement
Who's writing?
in which spouses spend time apart for a specific period. Importantly, this arrangement does not legally end the marriage. The couple remains married even though they are physically separated. Here are some key points about temporary separation: purpose and perspective. Purpose: temporary separation can serve various purposes, such as gaining a new perspective on the marriage or addressing conflicts. Short term, it's important. Only got some of that. So you got to give me the rest of that. But that's so here's the thing, right? Based on what he was saying, and I know where your stance is, and our stance is probably not going to change. But based on that, right? And me saying what I said earlier, where there is a very strategic, laid out game plan with time frames and action items and benchmarks, it probably could work.
I'm not saying it cannot work. I'm just saying I don't see the point in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the odds are against you.
Yeah.
Let me just now, here's the next thing. That statistic does not incorporate the variable of people who have strategic plans and have short-term goals
Mm-hmm.
and have purpose and perspective,
Mm-hmm.
that it doesn't include that variable.
Mm-hmm.
So if it were to include that variable, maybe the numbers would be higher.
Maybe.
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 I don't know. So let us know what you think
Mm-hmm.
about separation. If you were going through something in your marriage, would you be willing to separate in order as an attempt to fix it? Would you be willing to do that? Number one. Number two, if there's something you need from your spouse, something you need them to do, something you need them to change, something you need them to adjust, how long are you willing to wait for that adjustment to take place?
I mean, yeah. What are you gonna do? I
What are
can't.
you going to
I
do?
can't imagine people breaking up over a toilet seat.
Oh, you would be surprised.
I guess I would be.
People break up over all manner of foolishness,
Yeah.
all manner of foolishness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the toilet seat. And here now we're kind of getting away from what this is not. You got to go to inside the relationship for relationship advice. But
Yeah.
it's not really the toilet seat.
Mm-hmm.
It's their inability to navigate other things, whether it be communication,
Yeah.
whether it be conflict management, whether it be their inability to empathize. There's something else
Mm-hmm.
that's attached, that's aligned to that.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out in a tangible way with the toilet seat and you being angry about the toilet seat.
Yeah.
But there's some other stuff. Doc Parks is in the house.
Our resident doctor is in the
What's
house.
up, good Doc? Now, since you here, bro, we was about to go, but since you here, here's a question I'm going to ask you. The question I'm going to ask you is this. There is a school of thought that says that intentional separation can potentially save your marriage. So, we're talking about getting separated, and there's a story that I talked about with a couple who says that getting separated for 6 months actually saved their marriage. What do you think about temporary separation? Is there a benefit to that? Is it ridiculous? What's the doc's thoughts on that?
My thoughts on it, just to give you some background on what we said, I just don't see the point in it. How can you work on your marriage if you are not together? Like, what does separating do? How can we say, you know what, this marriage, it ain't working out. Let's separate and see if it does.
Mhm,
How? I don't
mhm.
see how.
Okay.
Because essentially that's what I think, that's what I hear when I
Mhm,
hear separation.
mhm,
And I could be hearing it all wrong, but that's what I hear. How are we going to separate and work on our relationship?
mhm,
And then you brought up the point of, well, a lot of people separate with the intent of divorcing. Well, why not just divorce then? What's the point in the separation? I don't
mhm.
I don't see the point in it.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Kels, I saw your comment. Without a doubt, bro. Holla at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt. I'm
Hmm.
around. I'm around on Monday, so get at me. Um, Juan Lee, shout out to Juan Lee in the comments. There is never a good reason to separate
For any
for any
reason.
reason. So
I just don't
let
get
me
it.
give you the other side, right? Because Evangelist Javid said in the comments that if you have a specific goal, if you have purpose and perspective, that there are benefits to the temporary separation, such as getting a
Yeah.
new perspective on marriage. So tell me what you think, Doc. No doubt, Kels. Got you. Tell me what you think about it. I'm gonna wait to see what the doc says about that, and then we'll go after that and see what the doc says. Me personally, I don't. I would not take the gamble of separating. Now, the reason why I say I would not take the gamble of separating is because about 13% was what I read. I don't know if that status has changed, but what I read was only about 13% of couples who separate actually reconcile. That's too that those odds are too terrible for me.
Mm.
Now, it does not take into consideration the variable that there may be people who say, "Hey, we're going to get separated for 3 months, And in those 3 months, we're going to have separate counseling sessions 3 times a week, and we're going to journal, and we're going to meet with a mediator once a week, and they have this plan that's going to take them to reconciliation.
I still think all of that can be done while you're living under
It can
the
be done
same roof.
without you moving out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think. Hi, Camilla.
What's happening, family? Thank you for being here. We're talking about temporary separation and if there are any benefits to it in terms of saving your marriage. There's a couple who says that a 6-month separation saved their marriage. And it says that temporary a separation can help strengthen your marriage if done for the right reasons and with clear agreements.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think about temporary separation? Yes, like living apart. Yes.
Yeah, like living apart.
We are going to separate,
live apart,
and we're going to do whatever happens in that separation period with the goal of somehow this strengthening our union. Is there any merit to that? Is it complete nonsense? What is it worth?
If it works for some people, I wouldn't call it complete nonsense, but I just don't see the point in it.
And I agree with you, even though I was playing devil's advocate. I agree with you that whole thing that I outlined about here's what we're going to do during the separation period. It's going to last for 3 months. And in that 90 days, we're going to we're going to both individually see a counselor 2 times a week. And both of us are going to see one time. Like all of that, you could probably convince me that your temporary separation is going to be beneficial. But then the argument is, why can't you just do that? Why you got to leave to do that?
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Camilla said it's a nah for me.
It's a nah for me too, Camilla.
It's a nah for me. All right, let's see what's Doc saying. Doc says sometimes things are so tense that you have to separate to get clarity. However, separation doesn't necessarily mean leaving the home. Now, what would be the goal?
Because once you leave, most folk ain't working on getting back together. Right. There needs to be a specific plan.
There needs to be a specific plan.
So I get that. Things can get tense and you have to separate to get clarity. And that's why I was saying, you go in the basement, I'll go somewhere else in the house. Why do we need to actually leave the home? I totally understand that things can get tense and you need just to separate to get clarity, because all you see when things are tense is the tension, of whatever the situation is. I get that. I just don't get separation, because I'm with you, Doc. I don't think that, and you would know that once you leave, most folks literally are not going to work on getting back together. Most. Yeah.
Camilla said, how you working on being a team apart?
That part.
And if we live in apart, we're basically divorced. In my head, I don't see the point. So here's the thing:
Me too.
The odds are against you if you separate.
Yeah.
Based on the statistics, what you're suggesting is in-school suspension, right? So you're like, hey, listen, this is going to be your bedroom. That's like you telling me this is going to be my bedroom. So that couch over there is where I'm going to be sleeping at, and you're going to sleep up there. How long we going to do that for? We're going to do that for X amount of weeks, months, whatever.
And even inside the home, if you're going to separate even inside the home, I think there needs to be a game plan. I'm not just separating just to be separated. Like, there got to be a game plan.
Yeah.
What are we going to do during that time that you're in the basement sleeping on the couch and I'm upstairs living life upstairs and you're living life downstairs? What's the point in that as well? Without a game plan.
Without a game plan.
Right.
Yeah. Kel said I'm on in school. Oh man.
Oh no.
Bro. We gotta get you out of there, fam. We gotta get you out of in school suspension. Yeah. I mean, you're right. There has to be a game plan. But so the game plan really is the determining factor, because in my mind, there's no real merit in me leaving the house.
Correct.
Number one. And there's no real merit in me sleeping over there either.
I agree. I might.
Not if we ain't doing nothing.
Maybe for a night or two, if we're pissed off over a situation,
Mhm.
and we're just upset with each other. I get it, a night or two, although that has never happened, and God forbid, I don't think it
That
ever will.
has never happened.
We might sleep back to back in the bed, but but I
Yeah,
don't
that
know.
has happened.
I don't know.
We separated in place.
We separated together. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
listen, it's interesting though, but here's the thing. Here's the whole reason why this is even coming up. And those of you who are with us on Saturday nights know this. The whole reason we're even bringing this up is because your spouse, your mate should know how you feel about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know this is probably not a topic that would come up over dinner and
Right.
but listen, like Doc said, things get tense.
Yeah.
And when things get tense, you should probably know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. I love his last comment. That is my point exactly, Doc. Stay the course. Stay in the game. I don't think sleeping in separate rooms is even a good idea. Maybe one night, but that night needs to bring about a plan in the morning. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. This is marriage. Marriage sometimes is gonna be hard. Like we can't separate over things.
Yeah.
Like, and some marriages are divorce is warranted. Then do that. But separation, I don't, I don't get it.
You're right, bro. Some marriages are separate
together. This is true.
You're right. You're right. There are,
This
and
is true.
we have experienced it. We have, we've come across clients in our time doing this that they have been relegated to roommates.
We had a couple, or you had a couple. I don't think I coached this couple with you, where they would even come to sessions and they were in the same house.
Yep. And they would come in
and
different rooms.
They would log in from different rooms.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, so it happens.
So that's separation. That's a good example of separation in place. I surely did have a client, and they had, I mean, all the sessions we had, not once were they in the same place in the house. Once? Not once.
Wow. But they were in the house.
They're in the house. So somebody's in the bedroom and somebody's in the basement, somebody on the back porch, somebody on the front porch, somebody on the front porch, somebody in the basement. Like, it was always two separate places.
Yeah.
Always. Well, listen, we're not here to judge. Let's be clear on that. All we're here to do is throw stuff out there so that y'all can start talking. That's it. Throwing stuff out there so y'all can start talking. What's up, Elizanne? Hey, shout out to Elizanne in the comments. Thank you for being here. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's all this is about. That's just about, there are conversations. Those of you who have been around me long enough know that I say this. There are conversations that we just don't have.
Right.
And we pay the price for not having those conversations.
We pay the price.
Because when something comes up, we don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Or we do what we think we should do, and it's way contrary to what the other person thinks should be done.
Yeah.
Because y'all ain't never had no conversation about it.
But yeah, this is true. But a lot of these things, I guess, people don't expect. It's not even in their thought process to even, have these types of conversations.
I agree. And that's the reason why we bring the topics that we bring, right? Because sometimes it may seem far-fetched. To some people, they might be like, well, duh, I'm not separating. Yeah, okay, you might not be, but a whole lot of other people are thinking about it.
Yeah. Right.
And a whole lot of other people that should be trying to figure it out aren't talking about it. And those people are the people who are going through
it. Camilla.
What's she say?
She said, y'all come with your big pot spoons to stir and add a bit of seasoning. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do, because we try to, as best we can, come up with topics that won't normally be talked about.
Right.
Or that are taboo topics, because listen, I know I can't know everything about her. We've been together. We've known each other for 29 years, almost 30 years. We've been together for almost 24. We've been, married for almost 24. There are still things that I'm going to learn about her, but you rest assured that if I need to know something, I'm going to have a conversation. There's going to be no guesswork.
Yeah.
We know how we feel about separation, temporary or not. And the reason why we know how we feel about that is because we talked about it.
Yeah.
And that's all we're saying. That's all these shows are about, is about talking about it. Kel said, yep. I
Never
never
even thought about a plan B.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And yeah. And that's why these conversations are important. So listen, like we say at the beginning and end of every one of these shows, conversation is a catalyst for learning. Conversation is a catalyst for growth, and conversation is a catalyst for bonding. So you should be having a conversation. Listen, if you came in a little late, go back and catch this one, catch the beginning of it. If this is your first time, please go to YouTube and catch all the rest of the conversations. They are some really great conversations, some really great topics.
Yeah.
And they're topics that you can just sit down and be like, hey, listen, babe, you know what? I was watching these two people and they were talking about XYZ. What do you think about that?
Right.
Boom, conversation started.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
That's all that has to happen. Listen, so Elizanne said, will do. So appreciate that. Listen, we're going to get out of here. Let me just say this real quick. We are back. Inside the Relationship is back. We want you to join us. If you are around on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we want you to join us. We just on Thursday came back with Inside the Relationship, which is a relationship show where you will get, we always say with this show, we don't really want to give tips and advice. You will get tips and advice on that show. And with these shows that are coming up, we will have guests on these shows. It's a good one. So make sure you check that out as well. And be here for this one as well. And follow us. If you're not following us, we got some other things in the works that we're trying to do with God's help. And we would love for you to be a part of the community.
Indeed.
All right.
Yep.
So listen, we're going to get out of here. We pray God's blessings on you. Make sure you are having conversations. Make sure you're having conversations. Elizanne said, yeah. Thank you, family. Hey, I'm looking forward to it, bro. Let's connect. Indeed. Thank you for being here and being a part of this tonight. We're going to get out of here. Blessings on you. Have a conversation. All right, folks, listen. It's life-changing. And why would you not want to learn something more about your mate?
Why not?
We out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you on Thursday. For those of you who will be with us for Inside the Relationship. For those of you who won't, we'll see you next week.
Good night, everyone.
Peace.